Get started. All right, everyone. I feel like I need a theme music. In the future, I'm gonna figure out how to put music to this thing, man. So when y'all come in, y'all gonna hear some music jamming. You know what I mean? Anyway, here comes Elisa. Just in time. We have a quorum here. Hello, Elisa. She's here. I don't know. All right. Okay. Hello, Elisa. How you doing?
I'm just trying to connect my audio.
All right, cool. We're recording, so we're gonna record a session and then we're gonna send it out when we're done. All right.
Okay.
So with that said, let's go ahead and get started. All right, welcome everyone. This is our first session of the mentorship class where we're going to be doing the lives. I actually want to do at least 2 of these Zoom calls a week to kind of bring us up to date and catch up to where we are, so that the lessons will correspond with what's happening in the field. All right. So currently we have about, I say 2 sites that we have going from the ground up that we're all involved in, that the mentorship will start from there. And we're using that footage as a means of being the field portion of what we're about to do on the lecture side. All right, so if y'all saw the video, which I asked y'all to look at, I created a curriculum for us to start with, for being able to do new construction. Now, some of you may be further ahead in this process than others, but overall, I'm looking at what I do in terms of how I do my processes from the land to the building, all the way to the end of it. And the goal is that by the time we're finished with all this tutorial, these lessons, how to build your own house from, A to Z. And also having me as your backup in terms of even being able to qualify for loans. I will be that experience, which then will translate to y'all. So this is going to help everyone throughout the process. So what I did, let me go ahead and mute my phone. So what I did in the first part of this curriculum was the process for new construction, right? And normally what we do is everybody want to build a house. What do? We got to find a land. Okay. And that's what I did the little video for. So I was hoping y'all looked at it. So this is more of a question and answer, but just to go over it briefly, everybody wants to buy land, right? They see the land, and I get this a lot. I want to build here. Well, how do you know you can build here? What are the things to look for to make you be able to build? And so in assessing that land, that's where we come to this. There is due diligence that goes into buying a land. Before you buy it, what do you need to know? What are the things that you're going to do before you can buy the land? And also to know what you're going to do on that land. And that was the purpose of the video. So hopefully you saw the video, and I wanted to do more question and answer from y'all. But just to paraphrase what happened in the video was, I took an example of driving through the subdivision, and I was like, uh-oh, I see this land. Hope y'all saw my little video. I'm a rookie, but it's coming around. So it's like, I saw the land. I like the land. What do I do next? Okay. So then I told y'all basically the next thing to do is we need to order a survey. If we get the land in the contract, we give ourselves 60-day due diligence, sometimes even 90 days. And then in that process, the first thing we're going to do is order a survey. So I wanted to take it from that point to say, okay, once the survey comes in, what do you do? And in the video, which I've pulled the survey up on the screen, I had shared some things about, how do you determine what you're seeing on the survey, whether it is the contours of the land. And I mentioned that you want to get a survey that had a topography. the topo, which shows all the contours of the land. Very important. You know, before I started recording this, I was telling those that tuned in earlier, I was like, look, I had someone just call me today, sent me a survey. It doesn't have the contours. It's not a true topo. It's just a survey that shows the boundaries. And what they want to know is, can they take one of my properties they're seeing and put it on there? And I'm like, okay, did y'all even look at the survey? One, I don't even know if it's set up for a basement. If it's a flat lot, I don't know, because there's nothing to show me that. Secondly, they had no concept of one of the things that I mentioned, which was your buildable area right here. I went over that in the video. You have a buildable area because within your boundaries of this survey, this is your survey boundaries, your lot boundary, you have setbacks. And I explained that your setbacks are how far back you have to come from the property line. On the side, in this case, we had about, but it's actually on here, we had about 7.5 feet setbacks on this one. So on the sides, we had 7.5 feet. In the front, we had 22 feet from the front of the street. And then in the back, we had 20 feet. So that established our boundary for where we can put a property. And those people that called me not having this information, they had no clue. And so I had to tell them, sadly, no, you can't put my house on there because it doesn't fit in your buildable area. And also, I don't know if you have a basement lot, a crooked lot. These are important to know because in the future, when you're doing things on your own and someone sends you a site plan or a survey and says, hey, because I figure in about a year, oh, you'll be able to take your test anyway. Somebody sends you a plan and says, hey, give me a price to build this thing. And you're like, all right, I can give you a price to do the house because you're going to know that by the time we're done with this project. I can give you a house. I can give you the cost to build your house. However, your site, I don't know. Well, if they give you this, it gives you an idea. So the lot that I use, for an example, is the basement lot. And in it, we see that we were dropping down somewhere about, what, 12, 14 feet? As I went over it, where's my notes here? Yep, we were dropping down. So we went down several feet.
So look, can I stop you?
Go ahead. That's what I want to hear.
So when you do the elevation, because that's actually the part that I stopped at, right? Well, first, my first question is, the survey is the site plan, right? Just to make sure I got my terminology.
No. So the survey is not the site plan. We're actually going to get in the site plan on my Thursday video. The video.
So what is this that we're looking at?
You're looking at the survey.
Okay.
The site plan is after. Okay, so I discussed this in the video. I discussed the buildable area, right? This buildable area tells us the size of the property that we can put on this house. So after you get that drawing now done based on the site plan of your buildable area, we're going to send that in, and that's going to be used to create the site plan. And the site plan has way more things on it, which I will send in my next video. All of you seen it because documents have been sent in for permits and stuff, but we will go over that. That's the next video.
Okay, so that's fine, because I was getting that part confused. I was thinking the site plan, but okay, thanks for the clarification. So back to the elevation, what you're doing is taking each elevation and subtracting it to get, like,
yes.
Talk me through that.
So what we had here, let me see here. When I pull this up, do I need to make it big? Can y'all see it?
Yeah.
Okay. So this one, we had they have the street elevation. Okay. And on the street elevation, we were at a 786 from the street. And from the 786 from the street, when we drop down, let me see if I can expand this. Hold on. Where's this thing is in the way. Let's see. Hold on. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna try and blow this up more. All right. Y'all see this better, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, trying to get to this. This is 784, right? That's on the property,
That's on the property. That's the second one.
right? But the street
It's at the up. It's you got to scroll up
is 786
right
right
there.
here.
Yeah.
You see that? Everybody see that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's your 786. That's your street elevation. So from the 786, you asked me, am I subtracting it? Definitely. 786 takes us all through here. So if we're facing the property, the right side of the property is 786. But then where we get to this part of the property, when we come about 22 feet in, or 20 feet, roughly 20 feet to 22 feet in, we see there's a drop. It's not a major drop, but it's dropped to 782. Okay, we got 784 here, and then we have 782 here. So yes, we start subtracting. So from 786 to 784, that's 2 feet. So without physically being there, we can imagine that this lot dropped 2 feet within a 20-foot span. And then it dropped again to 784. So I'm sorry, 786, 784, and then it went to 780. Where are we at here? So 786 to 784 drop, then 782, another 2 feet. So we drop 4 feet as we're going down, right? And then it drops again. Like over here, it actually goes to 780. This is coming around, a little difficult to follow, but somewhere around here, yeah, you see all that. So then we drop to 780. So you're dropping down again, right? So you went from 786 all the way to 780. That's 6 feet. That's a 6-foot drop. And then we go all the way down. It drops down more gradually, but you end up where your basic bottom is going to be. You're at 772. So you're about 12 feet right there, where your building is actually going to be situated at. Okay.
Yeah.
So that tells you that this land is sloping down. And you're going to have to, based on this alone, without you even being to the site and seeing anything, this tells you that, okay, I'm about 12 feet down from the street level by the time I hit where my house is going to be. That is definitely a basement level. Because now that 12-foot down is going to end up being where your basement will be built before your first floor, which then your first floor will end up being on the street level. That'll be your entrance.
So is there like a base or a standard range that says if you drop this amount, then it's considered a basement versus a slab?
It's yes and no. Most crawl spaces, we normally like to stick within a 4-foot. So if it's just a 4-foot drop, let's say, if the whole elevation was just 4 feet from 786 to 782 all the way across, then we have 2 options. We can do a crawl space, meaning that we got to elevate the house up about 4 feet before we get to the street level. Okay. So if we do it that way, then yes, we can be on a crawl space. However, let's say somebody said, well, I want a slab, but you're dropping down 4 feet. Can you do it? The answer is yes. But what will have to happen is wherever the house is, if it was just, this is assuming it was just a 4-foot drop, right? You're following me. You would go to the back of the property and around the property, and you will pour a solid concrete wall as high up as to the street level, all the way around it. And then you will backfill it with dirt and compact it right? That means that you got to push it down. You got to bring that Georgia clay dirt, the compacting dirt, which we'll discuss that further because you just can't use every dirt. You got to use dirt that's compactable, and you will use that to compact the dirt, roll it over, tighten it. Then you can pour your slab, and you can still have a slab. It's more expensive. But when you're at the 4-foot range, you're not really high enough to do a basement. You are high enough to do a crawl space. But if you want a basement, then you have the option now to say, okay, I need to dig this thing down maybe another 6 feet. So that means you're going to go in here and you're going to dig up a lot of dirt and haul it out of your lot. And if you do that, you got to be mindful of what's around you. Because if you dig out your dirt and you go down an additional 4 feet or 6 feet, what about your neighbors, right? You're going to be down in the dirt. So at that point, you're going to be forced to do some kind of wall, which is fine. It'll be your basement, you know, but then you have to bring your wall up to the dirt level before you can frame above it. So to answer your question, you know, when it hits about 4 feet, you have an option and you have a choice to make, but it will be impacted by what's on your left and your right and behind you. I've literally in Union City done that. I took a basement. I took a house that wasn't quite a basement, but it was dug out to a certain degree. And I just went on and dig it out and created a basement. Ultimately, what ended up happening is I had to go to where I had created that drop in the topography, and I had to put a retaining wall at the entire back of the house.
Mm.
That way the people can have a house. And then I had to put a drain system in there to drain away the water because it needed somewhere to go. So there are other factors that come in when you start doing basements.
So would you
That's a
say
good
it should be
question.
at least like 10 feet if you want to do a basement?
If you're close to anything 6 feet and above and below or above, if you have 6 feet, if you're 6 feet deep and bigger, I would consider a basement. You know, it may end up being a walkout basement. You know, part of your basement will be a little bit higher up. You've seen houses that are like split level, right? Everybody's seen a split level house.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
kind of climb up the stairs a little bit just to get to the main floor, and then you still got a basement. So if it's not super deep, if it's only 6 feet deep, it's fine. You can have like a split level model where you can go up the stairs a few feet, and that will give you the height you need for your basement, maybe 10 or 9 feet. And then you can walk up the stairs a little bit, and then you'll be in there, and then you still have a basement. So I think once you have 6 feet or more, you know, of a grade going down from your street level, I would definitely opt for a basement. It's the better use of the land than filling it in, because it's still costly to bring in dirt and fill it in when you could use it for a basement, even if it's unfinished, and you get more value for your property. But that's a good question. There was something that I didn't mention in the video, but it was along the lines of, how do you know what you can build on the property? Can y'all see this right here?
Yeah.
What does it say? It says zoned, and what does it say after the zoned?
Residential single, I don't know what that M is.
But what do you see?
RSM?
RSM. All right. We're gonna do the old school. We're gonna pull up Google. RSM. Zoning RSM, DeKalb County. You see that? So when the survey gives you those kind of things, and the legend doesn't tell you exactly what exactly it says RSM. It's telling you this is DeKalb County. So it's saying residential small lot mix, a single family attached or detached at a range of 4 to 8 units per acre. And the minimum lot size range from 1,000 to 5,000 square feet. Now, your lot size is going to be based on what you have here. You know, when they take the whole dimensions of your lot, they're going to get you the lot size, which normally is on your survey. You have right now you have an area of 16,991 square feet. But in terms of your residential small, your residential building that you can do, you fit that criteria. So that means, yes, we can put a residential, you know, property here. If it was zoned something else, and of course, in this case, we know it's residential because other properties are there. I'm looking at it from a standpoint of if someone just sent you this and you had no clue what you was looking at, you haven't seen the neighborhood, this can give you an assessment of what you can build, right? If somebody sends you something that's zoned commercial, well, obviously you can't just go do residential unless you get a zoning change, all kinds of stuff. So these are things to pay attention to. I didn't bring that up in the video, but also pay attention to what is there that allows you to build what you want to build. And it could be industrial, it could be commercial. Go ahead.
So you saying the lot size is based on what's in the within the setbacks?
Your buildable area.
Okay.
Your lot size is your property.
Within the property line boundary.
Yeah, your lot size is within your property line. That's the property that you own. So your lot size is all of it, right? The size of your lot is all of everything that you own. But your buildable area
is within the setbacks.
It's within the setbacks because it's your setbacks that establishes your buildable area. And, you know, I mentioned something like this, the 54-inch CMP, and we talked about that because it was in the was in the legend, right? Yeah. Okay, the corrugated metal pipe. So on this property, we do have a pipe here. Now, let's say it was something else. Let's say it was a creek. Let's say it was a creek. And the creek every creek has a setback. Normally, it's going to be between 25 feet to 75 feet. If it was a creek and we had the setbacks, we will have to pay attention to that because the creek, let's say it had a creek here, we will have to go 25 to 75 feet away from the creek before we can even start building. So if that was the case, that will reduce our buildable area drastically. And this is what happens to a lot of people. If they don't get the proper survey, if they don't see all the stuff that's in it, if they don't see what's going on, and then they get a property and then they stuck and then they're trying to get rid of it because now they realize they can't build. So these are real critical key things. That survey is so critical when you get it. You have to be able to see everything and understand what's going on. Yeah, that was one thing I noticed I didn't bring out, but it was very important.
So when you said the RSM is a residential single mix, and then I looked, it says it can be attached or detached. What does that mean?
Okay, so if you're attached, for instance, townhouses are attached, right? If you have townhouses in the area, those are attached. They're single family residential properties, but they're attached. Detached is the single family residential that stands on its own, like what we have. So in the area where you have that, you can put those there. Obviously, not this area. If it's in the zoning, but you're not going to get that because you're in a subdivision with ordinances, you know, bylaws, rules. But
so if it was a regular lot outside of a subdivision and it said RSM, then you could do a townhouse or like two. Does that mean you could do multiple properties?
You could.
Okay. You
could, because now if you have, let's say this is what the zoning is and we weren't in a subdivision and we had like 2 or 3 lots big enough, or the lot is big enough to do it. The zoning says we can, because according to their description, we can do attached or detached. So long as we can fit within the buildable area, maybe we do a duplex. Maybe we do 6 units. You know, we're going to sell them individually, but we meet the criteria in terms of the zoning, so we can have attached properties. And some people will go as far as to rezone the area just to allow them to do that. But the zoning is key. The zoning is key, because we've had cases where, once again, people will go in there, get a property, they told you could do this, and then something changes. I've had situations where people have brought me lots of land to look at, and they have a drawing already of single family structures, but then they have an alternate drawing to say, well, we can also put townhouses. You've probably seen those. Some of you maybe have. And it's almost like going into this situation, here's the land, you can put townhouses or you can put single family houses. Well, how's that possible? It's because your zoning allows you to. So it's just a matter of which path you choose to take, so you can get that approved. So once again, things to pay attention to when you're looking over your site plan. Did anybody have any questions pertaining to the site plan based on that video, or just if you're looking at it right now, if there's any questions you may
mean the
have?
survey? Don't confuse me.
Survey, I'm tripping. It's your fault. It's your fault, Ayana, because you started that site plan stuff. But that's coming up in your next video. That's gonna be cool, because now we're gonna start getting to the real details of what's happening next. That's exciting. But are there any more questions about the survey? And mind you, moving forward at this point, this is mentorship. So if you have any questions and there's anything else you need to know, ask me. And I'm not claiming to know everything. I know what I know, but I also don't know everything. And if I don't know it, I have the experts in those fields. There's nothing for me to pick up a phone and get them and question and get the answers for you. So, there's nothing we can't answer. Go ahead.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So with the survey, because that seemed like that's a tedious thing with understanding and coordinating the setbacks along with your plan. So when you understand and know your setbacks, when you send your paperwork in for permitting, I'm just trying to make sure for mistake purposes, does the county catch your mistakes if your setbacks aren't right?
100%. So for instance, our beloved DeKalb County, when you give them the permits, it's submitted to different departments. One of the departments that get it is zoning. There's land disturbance, there's zoning, there's people that look at stuff that we're going to discuss on the site plan, but zoning definitely looks to make sure that you're within your setbacks. Zoning is going to make sure that you don't have a floodplain, let's say, where you have to have a setback away from where your property starts. They're going to look at all that stuff. So yeah, they're the ones that catch that stuff. You're not about to slip something through. And they're very thorough. Most counties are, because they are the ones that if they permit you to build out of your zone, your buildable zone, and something happens, you can actually sue them. Lisa, I know you were on the Union City project before, but one of those houses over there, okay, I had a property over there. A neighbor had built on my land, and it was an issue because the builder years ago built and nobody checked it. So to your point, yes, sometimes people miss it, but the county back then must have been real lax, because the builder must have been real cool with them. Whatever they wanted, they did it. He oriented his house in a way that shouldn't have been oriented, and he took a portion of my land by building the house he built. So when it got to the legal aspect of it, there were two things that could happen. Either I give that guy an easement, and we could discuss what the easement is, since we're on it right now. I think that's a 20-foot easement. Okay, Y'all see this right here, this sewer easement?
Yeah.
Okay, so this sewer easement, it's on this house next door. This house next door to the lot, the house that's here, there's an easement, a sewer easement. So it means that when the county ran sewer, somewhere on the street, there's gonna be a sewer manhole, right? Sewer manhole. When they put the manhole out here, they ran the sewer line through his property. And it looks like it curves and goes back here. Where it goes, I don't know. That's for him to deal with. So they had to give an easement, you know, for the people to run a sewer on their property. That means they can access it anytime, right? You have to give permission. So that's in the records. So when they did the survey, they were able to see all this in the records. So when someone is encroaching on your property, you can give them an easement. So an easement allows them use of your property. It doesn't mean they own it. And sometimes they pay for that. You know, one time I had to go through a neighbor's yard to connect the sewer. The county, this was years ago, the county made me go and get permission from the neighbor, which is called an easement. And then I had to pay that neighbor some money. And then he allowed me to dig through his yard to connect to the sewer because the closest sewer was through his yard. And then we covered it back up and then I paid him money, which means I have access now to use that for those purposes. So when someone did build across the line, I had to get an easement. Well, I had to give that guy an easement. And then if he's fighting me for it, which it was a fight for a little minute, the only recourse was I had to go and sue the county because it was the county who allowed them to build. So because they're liable and because of all this that goes on, the counties are very thorough and they make sure that these things don't happen because at the end of the day, they're going to be responsible. So hopefully that answers your question. But yes, they do catch that. I haven't had an incident where they haven't caught it yet.
Yeah, that seems like it would be a very big deal.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it will be. It will be. So like all these things have to be addressed, all from the survey, you know, before you decide I'm going to purchase this property. So that's one of the first things we do is order that survey during the due diligence period. And it's money out of your pocket, but you're better off paying a few grand to get this than buy something that you can't build on or buy something that's going to get you in a whole lot of mess, you know. And sometimes when you see something that you don't like, maybe it allows you to go back and let them know, hey, I'm not going to buy this, or we got to reduce this because now I have to do ABC to get this lot up to par. So it's kind of like a bargaining tool as well.
Okay, so after the survey, what's next? Soil testing?
No. So soil testing only is necessary when you're going to do a septic tank.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Because they have to make sure that the soil will percolate. That would allow the sewage, you know, to be able to filter through the soil. So when you do soil tests, that's because you're going to do a septic tank, and then that's what they look for. But it's not necessary. Some people do it because maybe depending where you are, like if you're in a wet area, you want to make sure that the soil is, you know, good enough for you to build on. But once again, it's not necessary. I've done a project in Sugar Hill where they were in a kind of like a wet area. And to get around that, we have to put what is called helical piles. It's like augers, these augers that drill into the ground. And they have to drill like some 16 feet, some 20 feet. It anchors the footing of your house, which we're going to discuss all that footings in the next, you know, few classes. And so therefore your house is structurally stable that allows you to build. But soil test doesn't matter. Yeah, so for your purposes, you may want to know, you may want a soil test to make sure your ground is hard. But as far as the county is concerned, when you're doing septic tank, you need soil test.
Okay, so it's Gwinnett. So I'm just trying to think of a client that I had that was going to do construction perm, and they found a lot, but they were complaining about some parts of the lots were too rocky. There was too much stone there.
Yes.
So does that mean that Gwinnett uses septic tanks? Is that how they were able to find that out, or is that something else?
That's something else.
Okay.
It's two things, and I'll touch on it briefly. If you're on a land that you suspect that there's rock there, or even when you do a survey and they come back and say there's like rock in this area, if you suspect there's rock on the ground over there, then you do want to do a soil test to see where your rock is. If the rock is impacting your buildable area, then you may have to blast that rock, depending on how deep that rock is. And blasting is a whole another animal in itself. But a lot of times people get into that because to do a septic tank, you usually have to have an acre of land minimum. So when they have an acre of land and they know they got to put septic on it, they do a soil test because they have to. And normally in doing that soil test is when they find out that, okay, you know, that there's rock on here. So with this rock, we have a choice here. We're either going to blast or we're going to be maybe shift our buildable area to another location or shift the septic tank to another location that may not have as much rock. So if they're finding rock and it's impacting their buildable area or where their septic tank may go, then yes, that's going to be the issue.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Any more questions?
Are you gonna go over the other pages that were part of this?
Actually, the other pages is what's going to get us into our next lesson.
Okay, that's for the
We're going to
next.
start discussing all these things, your construction pad, right? We're going to talk about all these things. This is just a brief preview.
Okay.
Look at that. What's
Okay.
that? What's that look like? What that look like? All
The
right.
house.
All right, cool. That's a site plan. So we're going to get to the very smart. You're one of them students that used to study ahead, weren't you?
Well, I actually just watched it right before this meeting started, so it's fresh.
It's fresh in your mind.
But
Very good.
so let me ask you something. If we're only looking at this one page and we're standing in front of the property, is what will we be able to look at and see? Will we be able to like identify anything? Is it something that will be marked on the land if we're looking at it? Like,
good question. So when you get there, when the survey is done, these are things you'll be able to find. This 1/2 inch rebar right here for your boundary. Normally we're able to go and locate the boundaries of the property.
Because they'll mark it.
They'll mark it. They usually do, but it's not always there. Sometimes you have to go there and find it. But when you do a survey, they are supposed to mark it. In this particular case, the people that did this, I actually had to bring them back for the other lots that we're doing. And we're going to shift to that after we get through this section. And I had to let them come out there and mark the area. So you'll be able to see the boundaries that they marked. You'll be able to see these trees. And it's important because just because you're going to build on a house doesn't give you the right to come in here and clear all these trees out, because it's actually going to be based on what the county says. Okay, so these trees that are in the buildable area will be removed. Some of these will be removed, but the county is going to decide, okay, you know what, don't touch these. Don't touch these. And if you touch them, the consequences are very expensive. So normally they let you remove the trees. So if you go to the site, to answer your question, you should be able to locate the corners. You should be able to locate these trees, these 10-inch and 6-inch pine trees, 8-inch pine trees, and you should be able to locate these ones as well. But all in between here is going to be a whole lot of overgrown underbrush that we have to clear out. So when we start clearing this site out, all this will come out. The only ones that will be left are the ones that the county said we have to leave. Probably these. And when we get to the next section and we get to the site plan, you'll see those.
Okay, so you would leave like the trees that are like right at the setback line, or would you remove those?
I will leave the trees that the county says I have to leave.
Okay.
I mean, I will remove the trees that the county says I don't have to leave. You know, like they're going to tell me what I need to leave. And they're also going to tell me what I need to plant. Now, let me say something about that. It's not so much the county. It's the county has its recommendations. The survey engineer is supposed to understand what each county needs because they have their, rules. So the county, the engineer knows that the county wants, okay, this, the county may allow this, the county may not allow that. And the county wants for every amount of these trees we remove, we have to plant maybe 2, 3, 4 kind of trees. So the survey engineer is going to put that recommendation on the site plan. So although a lot of these will be gone, you're going to see a few trees that he got to plant in response to that. And then when we submit that to the county for inspection to get a permit, they're going to either approve it or deny it. If they feel that something else needs to be done, they'll deny it. But if they think that it's good to go, they'll approve it. And for the most part, we haven't had any issue when it came to that part. But if you have a survey engineer who's not that good, they're not that thorough, yeah, you're going to have those problems. Any more questions? Everybody good?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, feel free to ask the questions. If not, shoot them to me. All right. Feel free to shoot me questions about anything that we have going on. And I'm going to be getting us the next video, which is going to deal with, because I sent everybody the basically how I'm going to do the curriculum. So we discussed the land, we discussed the survey. So the next one coming up, we're going to discuss the building plans, because now we have to determine the building plan that's going to go on the site. But I'm going to actually stretch it out a little bit. I'm going to do the building plan, go over the building plan, and I wanted to actually discuss more about the building plan. But seeing how it's going, I think I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to discuss the building plan based on what we need to do for the footprint to fit the survey area. And I'm just going to kind of go through that and jump directly into the site plan so we can keep, in the same vein. We can go from survey to site plan. And then after we finish the site plan, then we're going to do an entire video of strictly the building plan and go into details, because then we'll shift to the site where we're working at, and then we'll be able to go through everything from the footings, the layout, understanding that. And then we're gonna start getting real deep with it, breaking it down, everything, blueprints, reading it, doing material takeoff, all that stuff. And then we're going to couple that with what's going on the site. And then there will be days of site visits for those of you that are able to make it, but I'll be doing videos as well on the sites. I'll be giving dates when things are happening. So if anybody want to show up, we could do that. And we'll be going for it from there. So, all right, look, I think I took up enough time.
Do you know when the next meeting going to be?
Yeah, Monday. I'm looking for my meetings to be 7 o'clock. So I'm looking for like Wednesday, 7 p.m., Monday, 7 p.m. That's the routine I want to stick to. Something changes, then I'll let y'all know. So I basically want to post Monday. We're going to have a meeting Monday, and I'm going to post something Monday anyway. And then Wednesday, we'll have a live like this, discuss it. Then I'm going to post Thursday for y'all to look it over. And then that Monday following, we'll discuss that. And then we'll just keep it going. So Monday, we'll discuss it. Okay. And then Thursday, we post. So Monday and Thursday, you get the videos. And then Wednesdays and Monday, we'll be doing the follow-up.
So if you're going to be doing the meetings on Monday, are you going to not post the videos ahead?
I'm going to post the video ahead. So I'm going to post the video like in the morning. So for instance, I posted this video Monday. That gave you a time to review it. We're reviewing it today, Wednesday. Tomorrow, I'm going to post the next video.
For Monday.
For Monday. And you have all that time to review it until Monday.
Okay.
And then the Monday that we go over that Monday morning, y'all going to get the next video to review Wednesday. So that's it. We're going to keep rolling. So
okay,
that's it. All right. Everybody good?
Yes,
sir.
Full day. Go to sleep. I know it's late for you.
The only question I got is pertaining to the survey engineer. Are they responsible for doing any of this, or is this all kind of our responsibility?
When you say their responsibility for doing any of what? Explain.
Explaining the setbacks and all the stuff that you're going over now.
Oh, nah, their job is to do it. Our job is to understand it.
Okay.
Because they're not here to teach. They're expecting that when a contractor applies for this information, they do what they do, and it's up to us to be able to break it down.
Okay.
Yes. So yeah, they're not going to be here teaching this stuff. But that's our job. That's why we're here.
Okay.
All right.
Cool
All right.
beans.
All right. So all y'all be good, be safe. Until y'all get the next video tomorrow. And then we'll go from there. And I'll be following up with y'all in the group chat about what's going on with the properties next. All right.
All right. Thank you.
No problem. We'll tell later.
Later. Oh, where's the
Go ahead.
where's the video recording gonna be?
I'm gonna send it on YouTube.
Oh, okay, and just send us the link.
Yep.
All right, cool.
It'll be easier.
All right.
All right.
Bye,
Yeah.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right.